Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well and your studies are going in full swing. So just about a day or two remaining for your CA final and CA inter exams, and I'm pretty sure that there would be some bit of nervousness and some excitement as well as you decide to step into your main exam hall. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about something which is very important. It's not about your revision or what you should be doing. All that is done. Now is the most important thing. What do you do in those 3 hours or 3 hour 15 minutes that can kind of decide the outcome of your exams? And these are the top 7 or 8 things I want to discuss based on all our experience from past students, feedback that we have received, and just ensure that you kind of use this, and I'm pretty sure this will help you to kind of save some marks or increase some marks by solving those adjustments properly. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing is regarding those 15 minutes. Now the first 15 minutes should not be devoted in looking at question number 1. This is something that you have to attempt. There's absolutely no sense looking at that question, whether it's difficult, easy, just ignore it. From question 2 to question 6, if you think of reading each and every question, does not really work. You don't have as much time to read each and everything and understand it. It does not really make sense as well. So what do? We try to identify that one question that we start from. It is very important that your start goes in the right momentum, and hence the question that you are most comfortable with should be identified, and identify that one question possibly which you can leave in the option, because between question 2 to 6 you have to attempt out of the 5 questions any 4. So which one do you want to leave and which one do you want to start should be your clear objective when you approach those 15 minutes. Secondly, in terms of the sequence, again there's no one right rule, but if I were writing the paper, I would ensure that the first question that I write is the question that I'm most comfortable with. It will definitely not be a very big question like I will not solve consolidation, business combination, etc. I would take up a smaller chapter or a smaller concept question which I am much more comfortable in solving, so that I get the momentum, I get the flow, I make the right impression on the examiner, and that is my objective. When I start, I will start with the easiest problem, easiest question, and then maybe out of the 4 questions or 5 questions that you have to solve on the descriptive, I would typically start with the easiest descriptive question, maybe attempt another one. So I'll do 2 questions which I'm most comfortable with, and then go on into the MCQs. I don't want to start the MCQs right at the beginning or keep it right for the end, because well, you are running short on time, there's a lot of pressure, you might kind of make mistakes on MCQs which are very, very scoring. So that is something that I would address and do something right at the middle of the paper, and as a result this is something which I would prefer. Again, after that, if you're looking for those big questions like consolidation, again don't keep it right for the end, because at the end, remember, there's stepwise marking, but stepwise marking is if you get goodwill correct, if you get non-controlling interest or minority interest correct, if you get the consolidated reserves correct. If you just kind of prepare a format and you're halfway through, the institute is not going to give you any stepwise marking. So if you have, let's say, barely 10-12 minutes and you start consolidation, you're not going to reach anywhere in those 10 or 12 minutes to give you even a stepwise mark, and as a result, do it after you have done the MCQs, but don't keep it for the last question per se. If there's a theory question where you might have to attempt theory, that is a question that I would do at the last, because a theory question you can compress the theory quite well. Numerical becomes very difficult to compress, and hence the sequence should be the easiest question, 1 or 2 of them. After that, do the MCQs. After, do a much bigger question, and then keep the question which you are a little dilly-dicey about because of complex adjustments, or keep a theory question for the end. That is what I would do. Now, as we have discussed over here as well, for MCQs, remember, for MCQs, you don't have to show any workings. I mean, that's not required. If you want to do it in rough, you can always do it, but you're not going to get or be deducted marks because you show working for MCQs. You can directly mark off the appropriate MCQs. Further, when you're looking at the big questions, in terms of the big questions, remember, FR paper is a very, very long paper, a lengthy paper, and as a result, I mean, if the need be, use short forms. I know that a lot of you get reluctant because you've worked so hard, you don't want to kind of just use short forms, but trust me, if you're running out of time, it is better to use short forms rather than just writing 80 marks of the paper. So if need be, use short forms in the bigger question. If required, you can kind of play around with the time, and that is why if you're doing the bigger question after half of your paper is done, you know how much time is remaining, and hence, if required, rather than preparing detailed notes that you prepare for each asset, each liability, use brackets. and take that role. Now one might always say that, sir, but it is possible that the institute might cut, maybe they might deduct a mark or two at max, but if that saves you 5 minutes, well, you do get superpowers at the end of your paper. In 5 minutes you can do magic, and you can write a lot of stuff. So try to compress if you see the timing is running late. And the big question and the theory question are two places where you can kind of compress. In the big question, by using short forms, by kind of skipping the notes and doing workings in brackets, etc., it can save valuable time for you. And trust me, you will come back to this and say that in FR, why didn't I plan my time properly? So use the short forms as well if required. Like if you have to write employee benefit expense account debit to share-based payment reserve, in one of the entries write employee benefit expense into bracket EB account debit to share-based payment into bracket SBP reserve, and in the other entries, if you have written EB and SBP, then you can repeat EB account debit to SBP reserve in order to optimize and save the time, as the case may be. Okay, then comes a problem of decimals. Now this is something where there is no consistency, there is no guideline or rule which the institute has given, but the general rule that we follow is for discounting factors we would put 4 decimals, and for the final amounts we'll keep up to 2 decimals. Having said that, institute sometimes has even taken 3 decimals for discounting factor. Don't really worry about the decimals. Institute is going to give you credit even if you take 4 decimals. That's absolutely fine. So stick for 4 decimals and final amount 2 decimals. From September 25 onwards, if I can look at the paper just to kind of calm your nerves a little, they've been very particular in the September 25 paper. So wherever decimal usage is there, they've mentioned that take discounting factors up to 3 decimals, round off the exchange rates up to 4 decimals. They've been very clear. So look at the instructions of the question very carefully. In all likelihood, they would have given you the rounding of instruction. And if there's a discount factor given in the question, ensure you take that only rather than doing your own calculation. So keep that into consideration. Now, when it comes to the presentation, remember you are at final CA or even when you are at inter CA, the first thing that the examiner is going to look at is your understanding, your numbers, and not really your presentation. So I mean, I'm not just saying that you keep things very shabby, but I'm telling you that you don't focus a lot on, you don't make those boxes, do a double line. You don't have the time for all of that. Trust me, you don't have it. You might think that you are a fast writer. You are not. With that exam pressure and everything, 3 hours are going to fly by in no time. So ensure that you kind of use every second and every minute that you have in doing something which is productive and not just doing a cosmetic thing. You don't have the time to do that. So ensure that you use every minute of your time in the most productive manner. Okay, so in terms of presentation, when you're writing a case-based answer, first part is explain the law. So explain the accounting standard or Ind AS as a case maybe. Then in the second part, connect the law to the given case, and the third part, conclude. You don't have to reproduce the institute language. You can write your own language, and that is absolutely fine. In a numerical question, it is advisable if you just jot down a couple of sentences for theory. Like if you have a diluted EPS question, you can say diluted EPS is considering potential equity shares, and then you start solving. It is absolutely fine. You don't need to be very elaborate. Even if you don't write theory, it is workable, but for safety, if you write a line, that is more than sufficient. This is the most important thing. Time and again, after every FR paper, we kind of put a poll on our Telegram, and almost every time we have seen that people mention that it is lengthy. It may be easy, it may be medium, it may be difficult, but it is always lengthy. And that is why completing 100 marks of this paper is a very, very difficult thing, as well as something that you should target. So in terms of planning your time and your speed, you will have approximately 180 minutes, and there are 30 marks in MCQs. I would usually keep around 140 minutes for my descriptive section. That leaves me around 40 minutes for my MCQ. So 30 marks, we try to complete it in around 30 to 40 minutes, the MCQs. And for every 70 marks, you have 140 minutes. So every 2 marks, every 1 mark, you have 2 minutes. So it's a 5-mark question, 10 minutes. If it's a 10-mark question, 20 minutes as the case may be. The only challenge over here is the business combination or consolidation question does not get over in that time frame, and as a result, you might have to kind of plan around 1.8 minutes for every mark. Like a 5-mark question should be done in 9 minutes, a 10-mark question should be done in 18 minutes, because a consolidation question of 14 marks is not going to get over in 25-28 minutes. It will take you around 35 odd minutes. So keep a rule of around 30 to 35 minutes for a consolidation or business combination question, and for every other thing you have a 1.8 times. That is what we would do, and for the MCQs, try to complete it between 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, this is something where you will kind of lose a lot of marks, and that is human error, but we can minimize it. How do you minimize silly mistakes? Time and again, the way you kind of do that is you focus on what is happening at that point, right? The best of the athletes, the best of the sportsmen say that when you're playing a ball, your focus is not on the next ball, not on the ball that went by, it is on the exact ball that you're playing. So when you're solving, if you are focused on your specific problem, then in your calculator you will not miss out that decimal, you will not miss out a particular, you will not write something which is in lakhs in thousands. You will not do that if you are focused on that one question. There may be one question which has gone by which is a little tricky, so your thoughts might linger behind. Do not do that. Be present in the moment, be present in the question. Don't think about the next question, don't think about the past question. It is easier said than done. Unless you cultivate this in your mind, you're not going to be able to do this, because you're going to linger behind or move forward considering something or the other. So ensure that you be in that question, ensure that you pick up the numbers correctly, ensure that you do the calculations properly, and that is something every student loses anywhere between 5 to 10 marks. Listen to this carefully, 5 to 10 marks by doing completely silly and avoidable mistakes. And the only way you can avoid it is by being present in that exact question and not jumping around while you're solving a particular problem. If your mind lingers, come back to that same question. You'll have enough time to go back into the next question later. Okay, and all of this works as good as your mind works. Okay, there is nothing more important at this point as compared to your mindset. You might be thinking that, oh, my friend has done 4 revision, I have done only 2 revision, 1 revision, I have left this. Does the examiner know that? Does the examiner know what you have studied and what you have left? He or she just knows what you are writing. So don't go with that mindset or be in that mindset, oh, this is one chapter I have done, so does not matter. The examiner does not know that. Write with what you know and write it with confidence. Back yourself. Remember, you might make some mistakes and that is okay. Our job is to minimize it. Our job is to ensure that we give the best in whatever we are writing. So don't really think about your preparation when you're writing, because when you are writing, you are being judged for what is written and not what you have prepared for. And as a result, be very positive in what you're writing. There might be, I hope that your paper is easy, but even if it is not, remember, whenever there have been difficult papers, always tell yourself, based on past experience, we've always seen that the correction to be lenient. Don't really get bogged down by a difficult paper, because if it is difficult for you, it is difficult for everyone sitting across the country. And as a result, don't get bogged down. A lot of people lose confidence in those 3 hours, and trust me, you may not like to hear this, but this is the truth. Out of those 5 or 6 papers that you're going to write, one of them is going to be a difficult one. You don't expect each and every paper to be a cakewalk. So when you get that difficult paper, you tell yourself that I know a lot of stuff. It is difficult. Maybe the correction is going to be lenient and I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to sit for it, and I'm going to sit for each and every paper no matter how it goes. Okay. So if it's an easy paper, it's fine. It's great. But even if it is not, you will not let that paper get into it, because a lot of people have kind of left the exams midway saying that this paper is difficult, but at the same time, so you will sit and complete each and every paper. You will speak positively with yourself, and as far as possible, you will not try to go out and check whether you have done a solution correct or not, because whenever you are doubtful, there's a 50% probability you went right, 50% probability you went wrong. So sitting and verifying is a recipe for a disaster. Trust me, if there are 2 questions where you are kind of unsure of, there is almost certain that 1 question you would have kind of messed up. So you have enough time after, let us say, 15th, 16th January, once your exam is over, to sit and do all of those post-mortem. You will not do a post-mortem after your paper. You will resist that temptation. You can look at probably a broad sentiment on how the paper has gone, but what the answer should have been, searching for all MCQ solutions, is not going to take you anywhere. It is a source for disappointment, trust me. And sit and focus. The moment your FR is done, focus on AFM. The moment AFM is done, focus on audit, but ensure your focus remains in the right place. Okay, so that should be it. I'll leave you at this point. Wish you all the very, very best for the papers, and do really well. Make yourself, make your family, make your professors proud. I'm sure that you have put in all your efforts, and a lot of blessings, a lot of prayers, a lot of good luck flowing your way. So that should be it. I'm sorry for taking a lot of your time, but this was very important and something that you should be hearing. Right now, there should be some reality that you should be aware of writing a professional exam, and I'm sure that if you go mentally prepared in the right state of mind, you will achieve wonders. Okay, remember, institute requires 50 marks. That is, you go wrong every alternate question, you still pass. Okay, so there's a huge margin for error. Don't be too hard on yourself. Go and make us all proud. Good luck. Goodbye. Take care.